Hey, real quick. I'm just really trying to figure out when a narrative changed. Like when we start lower our standards. And kind of really want to know the definition between a cougar and a woman and a wife and a girlfriend and a sugar daddy, a man, a husband, a boyfriend. I'm just trying to figure out how is it that we cool with being somebody's sugar daddy. And it's amazing to me. I think it's quite disturbing of what we're calling ourselves right now, especially as a grown man. You know, I'm gonna give me a little hottie, give me a little cutie. You just want something cool on your side, and that's it. Or you just want it for sex. You know, I just need something for sex. You know, I just need it for sex, and that's it. You know, dime piece on the side. That's all I want it for. You know, so I can have something to brag with the boys about. You know. But you a grown man. And to be thinking like that, I think that somewhere lacks something. I think you lack something. I wonder, does this come from, low self-esteem or whatever? I wonder what this actually come from. Like, what is the big deal about being somebody's sugar daddy? I want to throw a true example out there. I'm going to use my dad. My dad met my mom. Of course, he was a lot older than her. I'm quite sure her beauty caught his eye. My mother's a very attractive woman. A bad woman at that. But I believe that my dad met my mom after communicating with her or interacting with her to find out she's one hell of a woman, a young woman at the time with 4 children, and she wanted something out of life. And so I believe that that's what made him more attractive to my mother. Not because she was a young cutie with 4 children. No, she was a young woman that wanted something out of life. And she was already married to my biological father. So my mother was married her since she was 16. And then they got a divorce young. So that right there, I believe my stepfather, and I can't say that until his day, he would probably be upset. But it's my dad, he was a guy that knew he saw substance in my mother. And so he wasn't called a sugar daddy. He was called a grown man to take on a responsibility of being a father to her children. And that's what he was. Now, me being young, and I'm the oldest, and of course, I had these certain standards of myself. I was a little old woman in a young body. And so, of course, when I seen him, I had to test the water. I was like, hey, we need some milk and cereal. And when the man came back with the milk and cereal, I knew then that was a start. All right? But not only did he took my mother from her apartment and put her in a home, then he allowed her to get herself together, obtain some social degrees and some trades or whatever. She became a entrepreneur. So everything that he saw, I guess he said, hey, it was true. So he poured into her, not just trying to get some sex or none of that. He knew because she had standards for herself. That's why I don't understand the women today or young women today. All you want from a sugar daddy is some shoes and some purses and a little couple dollars here and there. And they even talking about $40 today. That you lower your standards. I'm going to get me a sugar daddy so he can buy this and buy that and buy this and this and that and that and this. And he good with that because that's cheap. Opposed to my dad literally took care of my mother and 4 children without my mom's help. She was a stay-at-home mom. And let me tell you something. He would never been considered a sugar daddy. He was considered a stepfather, the man that stepped up. So this is foreign to me when I see things, hear the things that I hear about how we have changed the narrative. And age ain't nothing but a number, as they say, but it's a mindset. See, the women back in the day, by the time they got 17 years old, they was already ready, groomed standards set, morals, principles set in place to be a wife and a mother. So 17, the mindset is just different from the 17-year-olds today than the 17-year-olds back in the day. I can prove that with my mother. My mother was a young mother, but I never looked at her in any other way but what she was. And she put those same standards in us. She raised us to be marriage material, factual, to be decent women, respectful women, have principles and morals about ourselves. She didn't teach us to be a gold digger or none of that. She taught us to be self-sufficient because that's how she was, and my dad knew that. So sugar daddies today, I've just even wanted to be one, I think is juvenile. I think it's childish. I think you lack self-esteem somewhere. I'm going to get me a little young hottie. I think it's more than that. I think you ought to pour into a young woman. You know, a man can deal with a younger woman, but what are you doing for a younger woman? Are you building her up, or are you tearing her down? You treating her like she's a tramp, a hoe, a thought, a ratchet, a bitch? Because that's what you're doing. Oh, I just want something. That's it. Shit. After that, get a couple of hours and she can go on her way. I just need to give, I needed to get my rocks off. I just need, a little something. That's it. I ain't trying to get no responsibility. I ain't trying to, get no more kids and nothing. I ain't trying to be responsible. I ain't trying to do nothing else but that. That sounds disrespectful. That sounds very disrespectful. And I think sometimes we need to just sit back and just look at how we do things. Same thing about women want to be a cougar. I'm going to give me a young dude, man, that's stamina, so he can beat this coochie up and, beat up the, beat up. I'm talking real. We grown. I'm talking like we be talking. Y'all got to do is give him a couple of pairs of Jordans, bam, a few things, give him a car, whatever the case may, get him some rims, but as long as he beat this coochie up, we good. We beat this pussy up, Give me some sex, I need that stamina. I need a man that can, last a little longer, because the older ones, they ain't got no but 10 minutes in them and that's it, And that may well be the case. Keeping it 1,000, that may well be the case. But what are you pouring into the young man? How are you building him up? You helping him get a job? Or you helping him be responsible? Some of them just playing the games with your children. That's disrespectful to your children. They come home to see a young man just as juvenile as your children. It's like you got 5 kids, and I think it's almost a turnoff to deal with a young man who you can look at as your son more so than anything. How can you even build up any type of intimacy with that? In order to be with a young man, you got to bring your standards down. Like, you got to bring it down. Like, you got to stoop down to their level. Hey, I'm not trying to be young. The only young I'm trying to do is be fit. Fitness, my health. That's the only youth you're going to get from me. I'm not finna dress like young. I'm not finna act young. I'm not finna do any of that to be with a young man, period. If anything, a young man comes to me, he better be ready to upgrade. Like, you ready to upgrade. You a mature man. You saying you a man. You approach me, you saying you a man. And I want to make sure I give that off on you so so a young man can understand that when you deal with me, you're going to be ready to rock and roll. Like, you ready to upgrade, because I'm not lowering my standards. And then why would a young man want to be old before his time? Because you're going to have to act older to be with an older woman. All right? Don't get me wrong. I've met some young men that have an older mindset. And I can see why they can't really date women of their peers, because they're a lot older. And they want more, and they see the things that some young women are doing today, and it's very unattractive to them. I get that. When I tell young men today, maybe date somebody 2 or 3 years older than you. And you never know. I was a young woman with a grown mindset. You might meet one just like me. I was young with an older mindset. I had a lot of responsibility at a young age, so I grew up faster than my time. So yeah, you can find that. Just chill and wait. You will. Society got it where, where it seemed like predominantly the whole world think the same, so find someone different. Yes. Yes. That's like finding a needle in a haystack in these times right now. So again, I mean, how do we lower our standards become something degrading? Cougar and a sugar daddy. That is disrespectful in so many different ways, And I don't see nothing wrong with dealing with somebody a little younger. I don't. But it should not be disrespectful. It should be where two people come to the same, people having the same mindset. I mean, it's equally yoked so far as the mindset. You know, the left and right brain is working together. We own the same thing. You know, I met a young man and he was so old. I was like, dude, for you to be young, you act like an old man. You act older than an old man. Like, man, you know. But I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I've met that. I met even with me, you know, guys just tell me, oh, you act like an old woman, you know. And when I was younger, I did. I act like an older lady. I was very responsible. Shoot, by the time I got 18, you know, I was ready to be married and had kids and stuff like that. So yeah, I know, you know. But because I was trained to be that way, I was brought up to be that way. I was brought up to be responsible, so I was ready. There was nothing else left to do. I did everything I needed to do in high school, you know. So I was before my time, and so yeah, I think that we need to, if you're gonna deal with somebody younger, upgrade them. You know, put something in them. You know, teach them something. You know, so when they do go back out there or whatever, at least they know something. You took all of their youth from them. And then a lot of women, you know, you out here trying to date men for the wrong reasons. Give me a sugar daddy so he can take care of me. I'm going to have a couple kids by him so I can send him to child support and I get all this money. I get paid. You don't even realize what that come with. So you got wrong intentions in the door. It never end well. Never. When you got the wrong intentions, you're going to get the wrong results. You know, there are a lot of women putting up with a lot of domestic violence, domestic issues, because you're dealing with an older man. And that come with a price sometimes. You kick your butt, you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing. Oh, that's what you wanted. You got the lifestyle, but you don't even understand what come with that. So be careful what you ask for, trying to be a gold digger. This is the reason why a lot of young women don't know nothing today, because the old heads, the cougars, out here acting ridiculous. You got to teach them something. They got to learn something. They got to learn something from you. What are you teaching them? Both ways, cougar and sugar daddies. What you teaching these young people? You know, it shouldn't even be all just about sex. It sounds so disgusting just even saying that. Oh, I just want some sex. That's it. Get this young boy, you gonna beat this. Come on now. Get this young girl, she gonna be able to, you know, do the things that an old woman can't do no more. You know. So again, we just got to look at it differently. You know, seriously. Even when in true story, I had a young man that called himself Like Me. I never forget. I was 29 at the time and he was 21. And then I said, I want to take you out on a date and all that. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go on a date with you. But I already knew I'm finna school him. So we go on a date. I was like, you know, he worked at a little restaurant. I was like, well, I'm trying to pick his little pockets, what he got. So I said, forget it. You know, let's go on and kick it over here to McDonald's downtown, make it like a little date or whatever. So we go downtown, we kick like a date. I order my food, he ordered his food at the time that we, you know, McDonald's was I. And he looking at me, I'm looking at him, like, pay for that. Oh, you ain't paying for that? Like, no, you asked me to go out. Oh, I said, what you, because you got with an older woman, you thought that, that's what we do. I said, well, sorry, sweetie. Honey, you met the wrong one. I mean, I'm not a cougar. I'm a grown woman. And when you stepped to me, you told me, you was telling me that you a grown man. This is what grown men do. They pay for things. I'm finna teach you something. Don't you ever think that all women like it because they're older, because they're not. I want to be that one that was not that, you know? So I paid for my food and say, hey, can you pay for your own? I mean, a lesson had to be taught that day. I never forget me on the sidelines calling this boy like, man, I thought y'all say these cougars be, you know, take care of you. I thought, man, this one ain't doing none of that. Factual. I'm just not going to do that. Period. I don't get off on just getting with young. I don't get off getting with young men. I don't get off on that. I mean, I'm not a cougar. I'm a grown ass woman. A grown woman. Period. So, I mean, again, you got to teach these young men how to be young men. Bottom line, teach them how to treat a woman. That's what the hell I'm going to do when I'm with you. I'm going to teach you how to treat a woman. Period. Period. No other way. And any cougars out here, you should be doing that. And if you're dealing with a man for sex, teach him something. This ain't about you taking care of a man. There's a difference between spending money on a man and taking care of boys. Different. I don't want a boy. I want a man. Got time to be teaching nobody nothing, no way. Half of that stuff you ought to be knowing, and they don't know it, so why would you be with them? Same thing about a sugar daddy, you know? Be with a young girl. It just sounds disrespectful. It just sounds disgusting once we really take a look at it. All right? And so again, you know, if you want to be youthful in your health. That's what I'm going to be fit at. I'm going to be young in my health. I'm not finna wear what these young girls wearing. I'm not finna look like the young girl, act like young. That's downgrading. Why would I do that? And you wonder why the young girls don't have respect for most grown women today. Well, grown women in a grown woman body, but the mindset is very childish. We talking about old fools. That's what we become once we do that. And then like being in a relationship and like my story with my parents is that my dad upgraded my mother. My dad took care of my mother and her children. He wasn't a sugar daddy. He was a dad that stepped up and was responsible and taking good care of us and taught us a lot. Taught me how to hunt, camp, drive, clean fish, everything. Even taught me how to make sure, he taught me how a man would look at a woman a certain kind of way. That would be disrespectful. I mean, I'm just saying. And my mother had standards. She wasn't looking for a sugar daddy. She was looking for a man. A real man to take care of her and her children. Her standards were high. She wasn't looking for a man to get a couple of dollars, $40, buy her a purse or some shoes. No, I need a responsible man in my life. And to be a man. And to be a man because to bring the balance in the household. I'm telling you, we is so out of balance with our mindset. And we truly believe the stuff we're doing is legit. Change the narrative. We change the narrative of how real men and women were back in the day. How husband and wives, real husband and wives who have the understanding of what the roles were. We ain't talking about the dysfunctional because it been going on. It ain't just started happening. Dysfunction been going on. But it take people to really understand the roles. And it's not hard. If you put a man and a woman on a secluded island, trust me, they'll know their roles by themselves, nothing else. And they'll find their roles immediately. And we have gotten away from that. You know, so again, I don't find anything amusing of being a cougar. I don't find anything amusing with a sugar daddy. That's nothing to brag about. Nothing. And again and again and again, I think it's disgusting, downright disrespectful. But if you're not in that young woman's life to help her, to get her on her feet, to show her things, you know, plant some resources in her life, show her how to get on her feet, you know, how to behave like a little woman, to make sure that the children respects him, you know, and they see him respecting their mother, so he teaching her sons or her children what a man and what balance is like in a household. Well, what are you there for? You know? It's just we should expect more. And the reason why we're not expecting more because we don't want more, and we fell into this dysfunctional lifestyle of a sugar daddy and a cougar. And like I say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's a mentality, it's a mindset. You're dealing with a child. It's almost disgusting. You deal with a young man that has an old soul, he got a mind, he got himself together, he's self-sufficient. He not even looking for nobody to take care of him. He actually ready to be a man. He just don't want nobody around his age. He wants somebody just a little older. But a cougar, you about 10 to 15, 20 years older than him. And again, if you're not trying to upgrade him to be a better man, and you already better know you may not even be in the picture later. He gonna go with a younger woman, but at least he gonna always respect you because he gonna say, I learned a lot from that lady. She was older than me, but she taught me well. Now that's being a woman, not a cougar. Same thing about a man. When she leaves him and go finally find her a real husband and get married, she gonna always have that man, not a sugar daddy, a man that came into her life that brought substance in her life. That is something you want to be remembered by. Okay? So let's get this together. Let's change this narrative back to the way it's supposed to be. The real roles of a man and a woman, a husband and wife. You know, you want those are the real roles that we need to learn today. All right. So again, let's drop the nonsense. Get you a cougar, get you a sugar daddy, and baby, you better be ready of what that negative connotation will bring into your life. And you don't want to spend a life like that. You be so used up and abused up, don't nobody else want you. And so you'll spend the rest of your life searching for that. You know? And I believe single mothers who really don't take the time to teach their sons something, you taught them to be independent. You didn't teach them to be self-sufficient. You taught them to be independent, so they look for women that can take care of them. And your men, you're so disgusting that you're not even teaching women, not teaching young women to be responsible enough. You know? And these men, you out here doing what you doing. You're not teaching your daughters or this young woman how to be a woman. And so now you got her out here chasing $40. Or get him a purse and some shoes and a couple dollars here and there. But yet and still, she have given up the most precious, beautiful thing in her life, and that is her vagina. The most sacred thing, and that is the Holy Grail. And I'm going to tell you something, you don't want her to feel like that is, you know, and that's another thing that women used to say, as long as you got that, you should never be broke. See, we put this stuff out here and don't even understand what we say. If you long as you got that, you should never be broke. You never go without nothing. Yeah, it's a powerful thing. Yeah, you can use it for the right way. You can use it in the right way. You can use it in the wrong way. Choose wisely. That's all I'm saying. We got to drop this negative connotation about all of this that we've been doing. And it's time to have this conversation. This conversation needs to be had. And let's see it for what it is and let's change that back to the right way. All right? And some people cool with where it is, but I'm going to tell you, in the end, most of these people die lonely and become lonely. Suffer. You know, you're going to suffer because you have the wrong intentions. If you have the right intentions, right results come.